You all, we are not licensed professionals. You know, we are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, you know, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again. Welcome back to another episode of Friendship University. We're so happy to be here with you another week. To the people returning, to our new listeners, welcome, welcome, welcome. As most of you know, and if you don't, I'm Kristen, and I am accompanied by my awesome co-host, Miki. Miki, how you doing this week?
I'm not gonna hold you. Like, you ask me the same question week over week, and I never really know what to say every time you ask.
It's literally a personal question. How are you doing? How have the last 7 days since the last time I asked you this question went?
Let's see here. The last 7 days, honestly, 7 days, 7 millennia. It feels like the same thing at this point in life. But no, things are good. Had a pretty chill weekend. Went to go see, what's the movie called? DC League of Super Pets, I believe, which was really fucking adorable. I loved it. As people probably already know, I'm a big nerd person, and mixing nerds with animals, like superheroes with animals, honestly, like, chef's kiss. Honestly, I was kind of nervous to see it, though, because it has The Rock and Kevin Hart in it, and I'm pretty wary when The Rock and Kevin Hart come together on screen. Like, it's either a hit or it's a really far miss for me. Actually, the hot take, maybe, I don't know. Not a big fan of Kevin Hart as an actor. I like his stand-up, but as an actor, not a massive fan.
I would probably say that's more of like a unpopular opinion than a hot take. Most people do, I think, like him. But I would say his voice acting for me is a little bit better.
I did enjoy his voice acting. He played Ace the Bat Hound, which is Batman's dog, and it was great.
I tend to like The Rock and Kevin Hart. I guess they have like a friendship, and it kind of comes across on screen. It's usually funny. I'm thinking about like they were in that remake of Jumanji together. That was pretty funny.
Which, let me clarify. I personally am not a fan, but I also think it's in relation to the movies they're in together that I'm not a fan of. Like, I think it's like the concept of the movies that they're in that I'm like, whatever. Towards, like, I didn't see Jumanji because I didn't really care. Like, honestly, personally speaking.
That's fair. I didn't see it until like years later. I watched it at home. I think I watched both of them at home.
What other movies have they been in together?
I know that they've been in other movies together, but I just can't think of them right now.
I'm looking it up. I feel like most of the stuff they're in is animated.
I feel like most of the stuff Kevin Hart has been in, especially lately, has been animated for sure. Because wasn't he in like that other...
Oh, there was a movie called Central Intelligence that I didn't care about either.
Who? Never seen it.
Exactly.
I'm sure that was funny.
Maybe. But anyway, how are you doing?
I'm well. It's funny because I was going to go see that movie. I went to the drive-in to see Bullet Train, and it was playing. It was like a double feature, but for some odd reason, we saw Bullet Train, and then that movie wasn't coming on for like another 2 hours.
Oh, no, it's fine.
So I was like, no.
You can catch it on HBO.
That, or I'll probably just go to the drive-in again. There are certain movies that fit well at the drive-in, so I may go see that at the drive-in. But my week has been good. Weekend was pretty chill. What did I do this weekend? What was this past weekend? Oh, it was my sister's birthday, and we went out to dinner. She is constantly asking me for recommendations because she just thinks I'll be out here, and I really don't. But I gave her a recommendation. She really liked it. We went somewhere over near the city. Well, yeah, it was in the city. She had a really good time. She brought in a Quick Trip cup to the restaurant. You can guess what was in the Quick Trip cup. And I told her that this was my neck of the woods, so please don't embarrass me because these people have to see me again. But, you know, it was a good time. Good times all around.
Well, happy birthday to her.
Yeah, she's something. Happy that she's made it another year. But, yeah, that was pretty good. Good food outside of the waitress charging me for another couple's tab. When she brought me my ticket, I was like, this seems a little excessive for what I ordered. But in my absent-mindedness, like we were talking, I just paid it. And then I asked her for an itemized receipt because she had one of the, you know how they bring up the checkout pad to you and you just put your card in right there. So I got an itemized receipt and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't order all this. This is actually the couple that was sitting next to me. So she reversed it. And then she charged me what my ticket was, but it never went through. Like it said accepted, but it has not posted on my account yet.
Listen, don't ask questions.
None of my business. It's none of my business. They said it was her first big party, so shout out to you, girl. I hope you didn't have to come out of pocket for that, because I know the struggle with being a server. So hopefully you didn't have to come out of pocket for my food. But
you know what? I completely forgot something that we did do this past week. We went to go see The Weeknd on Thursday.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. That's not to say that The Weeknd was not an amazing show, because it actually was. Abel, good on you, bro. You brought a good show. I think I just forgot. I don't know. My mind just be.
Time's an illusion.
Time really is.
As far as I know, that concert took place seven decades ago.
I feel like that was like 2020.
Right. Between working from home and looking at the same four walls in my apartment, pretty much like from sun up to sundown, like I really don't know what day it is.
Yeah, I just thought about the fact that I also in the same week went to see Thundercat and the Red Hot Chili Peppers with the Strokes. And I forgot about that as well. Again, not to say that it wasn't an amazing show. It's just time is moving so fast. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that we're spinning faster, they say.
What?
That Earth is spinning faster.
What do you mean it's spinning faster?
Like our rotation has sped up. I don't know.
Why? And by how much?
These are questions that unfortunately my fickle brain cannot answer for you. I can look it up real quick. If you would have asked me a couple of days ago.
I didn't hear about this. Typically, I'm really big into the scientific news. I did not know that the Earth has sped up for some reason.
Yeah, let's see. So, I'm going to go with National Geographic. Y'all seem plausible because I don't know. Refinery, I don't know about y'all. So, the Earth has shaved 1.59 milliseconds off of its rotation as of June 29th. And that became the shortest day recorded since daily measurements of the rotation of the Earth, pretty much. So it looks like 28 of the shortest days ever recorded were in 2020. And then on June 29th and July 26th, those days were surpassed.
Well, shit, if the day's getting shorter, I'm about to shave 1.59 milliseconds off my work day. You hear me?
What I was reading is because of like climate effects, and so I'm not really too sure. I saw the headline. I wanted to read into it because I'm usually into the news, but I don't know where I was mentally at that point, but I couldn't take it, so I just closed my computer and I was like, all right, well, we done sped up. guess I gotta put my running shoes on. I don't know. But yeah, so saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Amazing show. Always an amazing show. Don't know what they do, but they always bring the energy. I've seen them a couple of times now over the span of various years, and every single time I see them, it is an immense amount of energy. I'm just like, y'all really bring the show. My first time seeing the Strokes, thought I'd never see them live, so that was pretty cool. And then Thundercat opened for them, which was cool. And then the Weeknd show. Like I said, the Weeknd, that was no shade for real, because that was actually a really good show. It was actually a really good show. I know we were throwing a lot of shade before because Doja Cat fell off the tour, and we got Allergen and Mike who, and if you know, that was no shade. That's a reference to a song. So yeah, that's how my time. That's probably why I chilled over the weekend. Outside of that, because I was pretty tired. Because both of those shows took place during the week, and your girl don't go out on school nights normally. Because I'd be tired.
Listen, I be in bed by 10 o'clock, sleep
every night. So that's how my last 7 days have been. And excuse me if I sound a little congested, because I am. Allergies have really been picking up.
Can't blame my cat this time.
I could blame the outside. Well, it could be from you, but it's not you. I have been experiencing allergies for the last couple of days. I'm not gonna hold you. I thought maybe it was COVID, so I went and got a COVID test because been out in these streets. I'm gonna tell you. So at the Weeknd show, it was way more people with masks on than I thought were gonna be, which was shocking. But at that Red Hot Chili Pepper show, we were outside, and those people say we are outside, so we are safe. And I'm telling you, nobody had a mask on. Not one single person outside of me and the person I was with. So I was like, let me go get tested because I got insurance. It's free. Why not? And it came back negative. So I was like, that's okay, good. It's allergies. Here we are. But anyway, as you all know, or if you're new here, you can expect episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays. And we're just going to get into the discussion because I don't want to sound nasally in y'all microphone or y'all ears for too long. So this week, we're going to be discussing something. And I wanted to ask you, Miki, do you know what your communication style is?
So honestly, I didn't know what communication styles were up until about...
Oh, I guess I can explain what...
6 minutes ago before we started this episode, when you told me to look it up.
My bad. That was my bad. I was supposed to see. Let me just start by saying I did some research because this is not my first encounter with communication styles. I've seen a lot of different types, but the one variation of it that I kept repeatedly seeing when I was doing the research were 4 different types. So the 4 different types were passive aggressive, and assertive. So out of those 4.
Again, seeing how I've only had like about now 7 minutes of exposure with this topic, I had to do a little quick research before we started our call. Or not our call. Wow,
not work mode.
I almost called it a Zoom just now. What are we doing? What are we on right now? A podcast. We do a podcast.
Are our brain cells slowing down because of this?
It's early onset dementia, girl. Like, I don't know.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not claiming that. My mind is sharp.
I, again, don't have a lot of exposure to this topic per se. I mean, I might have heard about it a while ago, but I forgot now. I'm going to say I'm on the passive side, maybe somewhere on the lines of passive aggressive. I tend to feed off the other person in conversation. I'm always like asking them questions. I'm usually like the one who is more receptive in the conversation. Some examples is going to be some of the examples I saw online would be like asking questions like, oh, what do you want to do? Or, how do you feel about this and stuff like that, where it's much more like they're the focus of the conversation more than myself. I personally don't like talking about myself a bunch, honestly. Like, for someone who has wants to have a career where I'll have like more public more of a public eye, for lack of a better term, is like being a DJ. I don't like attention, honestly. Like, it's kind of like a weird little bubble to be in where I'm like, yes, pay attention to me, but also like, wait, don't look at me. So I usually like to focus the conversation and topics on the other person, so I don't have to focus it on me. Again, don't have a lot of experience with this topic in particular, or reading much about the other ones, but that's kind of what I, like I said, for the, I guess, 9 minutes now that I had exposure to the topic, that's the one I landed on.
I mean, yeah, it's been a short exposure, but thinking about like how you communicate, I'm sure if those particular adjectives or sentences stuck out to you, that's probably your communication style based off of.
Well, I'm also kind of like, I would have to like kind of ask my, actually, I guess I could ask you, which one do you think I am? Because I feel like I'm like judging myself. I didn't like take an official quiz, and I'm just like picking the one that, like, you know, I think I jive with, but who knows? Like, you talk to me all the time. Which one do you think I am?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good conversation starter as well, because the way people perceive us to communicate and the way we think we communicate can sometimes be two different things. I would say based off of, okay, so I'm going to just run through a short synopsis of the four that I saw. So passive individuals usually tend to act indifferently, yielding to others. They are not really big on expressing their feelings or needs. And they usually lack outward communication. So some phrases that can go in conjunction with passive communicators are, it really doesn't matter that much, whatever you want to do. I just want to keep the peace, etc. Aggressive communicators often communicate to want to be heard and want to be seen. So they may sometimes emphasize their language by speaking louder or a demanding voice. They tend to maintain intense eye contact. They can often be seen as controlling or blaming, sometimes intimidating. Some phrases associated with an aggressive communicator can be, it's all your fault. I'm usually right and it's others that are wrong. A passive aggressive communicator is someone that may feel powerless, but if put in the right opportunity will speak up. So most passive aggressive communicators will sometimes mutter to themselves rather than confront a person or issue. They may have difficulty acknowledging their anger, but they will use facial expressions to correlate how they feel, and even in those moments may deny the problem. So they're most often likely to communicate with body language versus verbal. And some statements that go in correlation with a passive aggressive communicator are, that's fine with me, but don't be surprised if someone else gets mad. Sure, we can do all things your way. Then they may mutter to themselves, your way is stupid. And this is what I took from online. These are not my words. This is research, people. We will link the research, what do you call that? The citations of where I did my research in the description box. Woo, it's been a long time since I've had to like cite my work. And then there's the assertive communicator, which has open communication, but not overbearing. They can express their own needs, desires, ideas, and feelings while also considering the needs of others. Assertive communicators aim for both sides to win in a situation, and they try often to balance one another. So some statements that correlate with an assertive communicator are, I realize I have choices in my life and I consider my options. I respect the rights of others. We are equally entitled to express ourselves respectfully to one another. So based off of those short synopses of the four, I would either say, honestly, passive aggressive, because I do oftentimes see you communicate with body language more than your words, or when you are to a point where there's no way for you to not do anything but communicate your words, it can be aggressive.
Well, if that's how you really feel.
No, I mean, passive aggressive. The reason I say passive aggressive, though, is because I can read your body language, and based off of that, I can redirect or adjust or whatever. Now, that's me knowing you and like knowing to read how you feel about somebody.
I mean, listen, this shoulder is cold. It's freezing, okay? Ice cold.
Yo, ice box where your heart used to be is real, okay?
Listen, you're right. No, for real. I definitely... I guess I don't want to say I like shut down per se, but I definitely become a little bit more icy, a little bit more rigid when I'm like upset or angry. I'm just like, I'm gonna now not talk to you and make sure you know that I want to punch you in the throat.
You will make sure someone knows, but you won't say anything. But I also think that's because maybe internally you have a fear of saying something you'll regret.
I'm sure there's like multiple things that kind of like relate to this. So it's actually interesting as you're walking through the communication styles, it actually reminded me similar to the 4 attachment styles, which I can go into detail later, but they do seem closely related. My attachment style, which again is a conversation we'll probably have to go into later because it's really long and complex about how you determine your attachment style and how it develops and all that great stuff. But anyway, I have a disorganized attachment style, formerly an anxious, preoccupied one, but I've moved into a disorganized one, where I can either be I can be anxiously attached to someone in a sense of like, I want to make sure that they're okay, that they're not mad at me, that I'm not doing anything wrong, and walking on eggshells to make sure like I'm not upsetting them, while also at the same time the disorganized side of it is where I'm like kind of fearful that like I'm gonna get hurt or like they're gonna leave or something like that. So like it's kind of interesting how like my attachment style and my communication style are very similar, where like you're right, there are times where like I'll bite my tongue because I'm like either I'm going to hurt their feelings or they're going to get upset with me and that's going to open up a Pandora's box of other things, or I'm just going to, get over it and just not, voice my opinion about something just to keep the peace or whatever. But by extension to me, like suppressing that need to communicate down, it definitely comes out in a physical way where I'm just like, meh. And then there definitely are points in time where like I genuinely can't hold it in anymore, and I think because I held it in for so long, like it comes out as like I'm now going to slice your throat open out of annoyance and anger and stuff like that. I'm working on being a lot better about it now. I definitely think I'm a lot better about it now, where like if someone crosses a boundary or someone upsets me, like I'm typically pretty quick to let them know like, hey yo girl, cut that out. Not perfect. There are definitely still times now where someone will do something or say something and I'll just be like, it's fine, I'll just let it go. But on the inside, I'm like, oh girl, if I could hit you with a bus right now, I would.
You and these buses. Oh my gosh. Do you think though that you've become a little bit more aware and open to communicating, that it has anything to do with you being able to take the time to like think about it and digest it and then come back to it, versus like just trying to push it to the back of your mind?
I'm pretty good about processing things pretty quickly. Like if a situation happens or a conversation's had, it doesn't take me a long time to like work through it and come to a conclusion. I know others where it could take them like multiple days, like a week, to be like, girl, what you said last week really fucked me up, and like I've been ruminating on that for the past week. Like I'm pretty quick, like maybe like a 24-hour turnaround, and I'm like, hey yo, we you have to throw hands because you're raggedy. Wow. In the past, I would actually say I was a lot quicker about reaching an emotional conclusion, which usually 9 times out of 10 led me to an inappropriate emotional conclusion, where like now I do spend a little bit more time being like, let me process, let me sit on that feeling for a little bit in my own time and like, come to a more rational conclusion, versus before I'm just like, I'm just going to react. Whatever emotion comes out, I'm just going to react to it. So I actually think I slowed down.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can have another conversation about attachment styles because I didn't even think about that and how they can correlate. It makes sense though that they would correlate. I will say though, because I know I could tell by your body language you were processing being a passive aggressive communicator, that it can come off different in a professional setting. So the current job that I work, we did a communication styles workshop where we figured out how we communicated professionally with our colleagues and different things like that. And the terms that they use were different, but they can correlate with the same 4 communication styles I repeatedly found when I was doing research. And so those 4 communication styles were driver, collaborator, socializer, or thinker. And the passive aggressive communication style can often go into either the socializer or the thinker, meaning like you just would rather take the time to digest what's happening versus completely jumping into a conversation about it, because you oftentimes are thinking about what the long haul outcome will be versus what's happening in the moment. Does that sound correct?
I would say yeah. That I definitely jive with that. I actually think I vaguely remember this workshop when I worked at where you work at currently.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but
Do you remember what your communication style was?
not at all. No. Definitely not a driver. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. It could have
Probably
been
socializer or
collaborator.
thinker.
Yeah,
It's probably one of the
socializer.
two, honestly. But yeah, as I was saying before, now I just spend like I give myself a couple more moments to really think about what's being said or what's happening before I jump the gun. But I'm not perfect at it. Practice takes perfect.
I mean, and
What is happening this week? I'm tired.
ever since I told you the world sped up, we have been in shambles.
Shambles, okay? Like now that I know that I can, like, there's 23 hours and basically 24 hours in a day still, I'm tired. It's a couple milliseconds closer to my bedtime.
Always thinking about sleep.
Forever and always.
Forever and ever.
Oh my God, my boss told me the other day, you're always sleepy.
You be telling your boss you're sleepy?
Every day. She's like, how you doing? Tired.
That is so...
Every single day, how is everyone doing? Sleepy, tired, exhausted, sleep deprived. I'm always tired. I'm forever tired.
That's...
Ask our ambiguous, unnamed mutual friend what I was doing before we got here. I was sleeping on her couch.
Woo. I don't know what to say to that. Maybe you should go to like a sleep pathologist or somebody to figure out why you're always tired.
Maybe.
But fair. Again, I don't think any of these communication styles per se are like good or bad. I feel like given the moment, anybody could be any one of them, you know, so it probably can change from situation to situation. I guess it's just based off of what you normally see in your day-to-day life. For me, honestly, I would say I'm an assertive communicator because I do often feel the need to express how I feel to other people and to understand how other people are feeling often so that there can be a mutual understanding there. Now, that is not to say that at moments I haven't been passive aggressive. There was actually a time in my life where I probably was more of an assertive communicator. I'm sorry, not assertive. More of a, what do you call it? More of an aggressive communicator than an assertive communicator. Because I used to be passive aggressive and just kind of let things go, even though they were bothering me, and then it would build up and there would be this resentment, and then I would just lash out and there would be these shouting spats and all these different things, because that's how I felt like I could get people to listen to me. But in understanding my emotions and my feelings and knowing, like, for me, I kind of live by the rule that you can never hold someone accountable for anything you never say. So it's like trying to give someone in a class a test and you've never gone over the material. Like you would never take that from a teacher.
Right.
So I always try to like be open about the way that I'm feeling, because sometimes you can be wrong about the way someone's approaching you. You can just say, well, maybe they just don't understand that this bothers me, or maybe they don't understand, like, this is how I am. So let me let them know that this is the way that it is. This is how what they're doing is making me feel. And I think that helps to alleviate the pressure of having to make excuses for people.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to make excuses for people because I didn't want to lose them. So it was like, well, maybe they just don't know how I feel. But then, you know what I'm saying? God would be like, you ain't never tell them how you feel. So how do you even know that they don't know how you feel? So I started speaking up, and that came with time. That came with age, maturity. That honestly came with getting closer to God and just having that relationship and really understanding, like, if you don't open your mouth, your words have so much power. So you really have to just open your mouth. Say how you feel, say what you want, etc. And it really can change a situation. It can change the atmosphere. It can change the day. It could change all kinds of things. I have avoided so many conflicts with people just because I was like, listen, can we talk about this? Versus in the past, I think about the arguments I've had with people, even with, like, down to my family or, you know, siblings and my parents and just different things like that. Like, not speaking up. Now, this is not to say sometimes the things that you may say will not be received the way you would hope they would be received, but I definitely think it's important to be aware that you have the right to feel how you feel, and you also have the right to discuss it with the people you say you care about. So, yeah, I would say I'm assertive. That kind of correlates. Now, the interesting thing is, I know what my communication style is professionally from the quiz that we both took, and it's driver. Honestly, it changes. Like I said, at any moment we can all be one of these given the situation. So the first time I took it, I was a thinker. I needed time to process. And then the second time I took it, I was a driver, and I've taken it like many more times since then. I just recently took it again right before the podcast just to see, and I got driver. And a driver is actually someone who acts first and then seeks forgiveness later. So I'll do something that I feel like is right or what needs to be done, and then I'll ask for forgiveness after the fact.
Sounds about you. Yep, sounds about right.
You got to get what you got to get done. So how would you say, though, your communication style has affected the friendships that you have?
Really, there's one or two outcomes. Either it really fucks up our relationship, or it makes our relationship a lot stronger. It's not news. It's nothing crazy. I started going to therapy about a year ago, and I would say that's actually right around the time that my
attachment.
Well, I was gonna say more so like my knowledge about how I communicate with people started to develop. So I'll actually stick with that. But just as far as like being more communicative, as far as like what my needs are, what my wants are, like what my expectations are. Now, mind you, 99.99% of the conversations I was having were in relation to relationships specifically, but I have applied that romantic relationships, I should say. But I've applied a lot of that to like my friendships now, where like if there's something I want to do, like I'll voice that, or if there's something that they did that bothers me, like I'll express that. Now, as far as the outcomes of that, like I said, one of two ways. Either they, take the communication and they listen and they roll with it, and it really like improves our relationship because they listened to what I said and made, appropriate adjustments. Now, there are the flip side of that where they did not take the communication well, or even if maybe they didn't even take the communication well, maybe they just more so didn't receive it in a sense of like they didn't really like care or like think there was a problem. So like I would communicate something that's bothering me or like that I want to change, and like they would just kind of like shrug it off, and that was usually like a sign to me that I should step away from that relationship. And before therapy, I would say like I was a lot less communicative as far as like my needs, wants, and stuff like that. And I had a habit of being the people pleaser / like the doormat for people, where like they could say whatever or do whatever, and I'm just like, it's fine, like it's not that big of a deal or whatever. Until eventually I like got too fed up and blew up at them. Switched over to my aggressive side. But I would say, yeah, it's like making things a lot better. I would say my friendships feel more genuine now. They feel more open and safe, because now I'm not like not necessarily like hiding behind a wall, but I'm more like open about who I am and like what I'm about and like what I like, what I don't like. And I feel like that's definitely like, improved a lot of my friendships over the past year.
That's good to hear. That makes me happy. I'm all about open communication, so what?
Yeah, I know you are.
You don't have to roll your eyes.
It's so ghetto. Being a human is ghetto. Relationships are ghetto. All of it's ghetto.
I mean, it has its perks.
Name one of them.
You get to love and be loved. You get to enjoy delicious food and not have to
Cats.
If you aren't a feral cat, what about the millions of feral cats that are out there that are fighting for their life right now for the chicken bone on the side of the road?
I'm sure they're living a much better life than I am.
I doubt it, because what you're gonna, what you're going home to? A nice, comfy bed to snuggle up with your cat to have a peaceful sleep.
I'm just saying, why can't me and my cat swap places?
See,
I'd rather be the cat and he can be the human. All I have to do is meow and I get fed, meow and I get like cuddles, occasionally knock something off a counter, look cute for the gram, and that's it.
You see, again, that is in hopes that you would be chosen. See, animals don't get a choice if they're chosen. Humans, though, we can choose our own destiny. We can decide how we live, what we accept, what we don't accept. Animals are in the wild, and if they get scooped up, they get scooped up. Some people are fighting dogs, and some people are Oprah's dogs. There's two sides to the coin. You could be out here fighting for your life, thinking, finally, I'm off the streets. Your girl got a nice house, and now you Michael Vick.
Oh my God.
There are other dogs who are out there.
I guess it's like being human, where there's some humans out here who are living large.
Meanwhile,
I gotta clock into a ghetto 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
It's
girl.
ghetto, but you got a box that you get to go
home box.
to. You got
a 707 square foot box that they're trying to have me pay for the washer and dryer inside of, and I'm not doing it. You
got in-unit washer and dryer
that they're trying to have me pay for, and it's not going to happen. Like I said, I told that leasing person, girl, I ain't paying for this washer and dryer in the 2 years I've lived here. I'm not paying for it now.
And now she said, you know what? You're right. Our bad. It's not in the lease, and that's why reading is fundamental, because you want to know how many people in that property probably getting got every month.
See, but communication, because you ask not, you shall not receive.
You opened your mouth.
Okay, I was like, no, ma'am, I'm not doing this, and she was like, thank you for communicating that with me. Let me adjust, that's a sign that you should communicate with your friends, because you never know, you might get results.
Okay, look at you being assertive.
Okay, look at me. Okay.
Getting what you want. You deserve. I just really want people to understand how important communication is. I mean, this is honestly something I have heard was one, if not the most important thing in a lot of relationships. That's platonic, romantic, family, just really communicating. And when I say communicating, I mean productive communication. Now, like, I don't even know an example. I'm trying to think about like a unproductive sentence, but I don't want to single anything out. But I feel like people know when they are productively communicating and when it's like an unproductive situation. Like, don't go out here just trying to pick fights for the sake of picking fights. Or like try to pick at something just because you're trying to find something to pick at. Like, honestly, being open and honest, because what communication honestly is vulnerability. And we talk a lot about vulnerability on this podcast and like really being open to the people you say are important to you and the people you say you care about, especially your friends, because friends, they're important. They're for accountability. They're for adversity. They're, for reflection. They're for a lot of different things. And if you aren't open and honest with them, they can't offer an honest reflection back to you. So, you can be whoever you want to be, but why not just be who you're supposed to be, who you are, who you actually, were born to be. So I think communication, no. I also think there are two sides to that coin, because I think communication can be a reflection of the individual, but I think it can also be a reflection of the person they're communicating with. Because there are certain situations where I will have someone that I am communicating with, and there are certain things that I will not say just for the sake of keeping the peace, or like not wanting to take the energy or time to have the conversation because I know it's not going to go anywhere. Now that doesn't mean that if they disrespect me or go over a line or anything that I'm not verbal and like, hey, that's not okay.
Right.
But you have to pick and choose your battles for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I actually didn't have a sentence, to be honest. It just came out. It just said I. This episode's a lot. I'm tired. I'm so tired.
Oh my gosh. So when you think about your friends, do a lot of your friends have similar or different communication styles than you?
I don't know, actually. To be, if we're gonna be dead ass, I would say I have friends all over the spectrum, honestly. Like, no one, I'm gonna say no one. Yeah, they're all over the place, honestly. Some communicate like I do, some don't. Some are a lot more aggressive than I am, some aren't. Some are a hell of a lot more assertive than others. I don't really gravitate towards one in particular group of communicators, honestly. Now, will I say do I have easier conversations and jive better with certain people over other? Absolutely. But again, I'm not going to say that's a communication style thing. That might just be more of like a shared interest and personality type of thing more than anything else. But yeah, I don't have an answer for you, unfortunately, friend. I do apologize.
I mean, yeah, that's an answer. I ask because I feel like oftentimes we are attracted to the opposite of ourselves.
Not I. No. I may think I'm trash, but I'd rather deal with me than deal with anybody else.
Which proves you don't think I mean, in the sense of like, if you're a passive aggressive communicator, would you want to speak to another passive aggressive communicator?
Probably, because I think it'd be fun. We could just like passively aggressively.
You are always looking for chaos. I don't understand.
Well, it's kind of like the idea where like, so going back to the attachment thing, general high level overview, people say like, oh, like if you have an insecure attachment style, you should date someone with a secure attachment style. To that, I say I'm anxiously attached, and I would love to date someone who is also anxiously attached.
So you gotta just be attached at the hip?
Yes.
Wow.
It's like I said, it's a whole other conversation. It's a long
we can go through conversation. You're a little bit more knowledgeable on the attachment styles than I am, for sure. So we can definitely go through that in another conversation, because I would love to take a quiz to see what my attachment style is and see like what I gravitate towards. And
don't get me wrong, like no tea, no shade to like the secure people out there. Like, it's great, but
I mean, you are who you are. Like I said with the communication styles. Now, I mean, if you look it up, we're going to, like I said, post the resources that I did with the research, and you'll see like some people, I'm not even going to lie, there's a lot of communication out there that tries to tell people to be on a more assertive side than the other three communication styles, just because it can oftentimes create cohesiveness. It can create peace. It aids in you being fearful to be honest with people and just different things like that. But I feel like I said, at any moment in time, we can all be one of those communication styles based off of where we are emotionally, you know, where we are with that person, where we are mentally. At any point, we can be any of those. So it is what it is. Now, I do think if you are going to take the quiz, or you are going to look at the resources and see what your communication style is, and if it doesn't align with who you want to be, then maybe it's worth looking at how you can adjust, or kind of do some internal interrogation to figure out how you can change to be the communication style that you want to be.
Right.
So there's a difference between being comfortable in that and you're like, okay, yeah. But if you find often that being passive makes you feel unworthy, it makes you feel angry, it makes you feel unseen, then that's an issue. You need to look at why you can't communicate your feelings, why you don't want to, who is it that you're trying to communicate your feelings to, how are they making you feel when you communicate these feelings. Yeah, that's worth some examination for sure. And I think that's what happened when, this was before I even had terminology to put to it, when I was passive aggressive. I started to look at like, this doesn't make me feel too good. Like, I don't feel like I'm having, like you just put, open, honest friendships with people. I don't feel like I'm having like that freedom and that fearlessness when I'm connecting with people. And I started to look at like, how do I change that? And that's how I kind of became an assertive communicator for sure. Woo! Not tired.
I told you, girl, I'm so tired.
So, what are your final thoughts on communication style? Well, how important is communication to you in any relationship?
Now I find it incredibly important, like even so much so where like
honest communication, I would say.
Yes, honest communication, but like to the extent of like just tell everyone everything, honestly. Like, if you're having a bad day, don't hit me with the, oh, I'm fine, or like, it's no big deal, I'll be okay. Like, no, girl, tell me what's wrong. Like, because my little brain's gonna spend plenty of time trying to figure out, like, are you mad at me? Did you like murder someone? Like, are you
don't tell me if you murdered anybody.
Are you in trouble? Like, if something happened, like, did someone punch you that I need to go, like, you know, murder for you? I love over communicating. Like, tell me everything. Like, no matter what it is, if you was like, yeah, I stubbed my toe and now I'm in a bad mood, or hey, can't talk right now, I'm on the newest season of The Simpsons and I really don't want to pay attention to my phone, or hey, like, I want to go see this movie but I don't want to go because I'm gonna be like a lonely bitch or whatever. Like, just communicate everything. Tell your friends, your lover, your whatever, not your coworkers.
Okay, God, no. Don't tell your boss. Don't tell your coworkers all that.
Just say it all. Like, if I'm not in the mood to talk, I'll tell you I'm not in the mood to talk. Hey, I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey right now. Not really feeling holding up my phone. I'll chat with you later.
That's fair. So as you are saying, you want someone to be open and honest about everything. Are you willing to be open and honest about everything with those same people? Telling everybody.
I'm better about it now. I mean, I'm getting there.
Or do you hope to get to that point where you could just be like, I stubbed my toe, and I woke up, my cat's paw was in my eye,
and I'm upset.
Because now I can't see out of my right eye.
Exactly. I'm getting there. My ideal goal is to get to that point where, like, I'm just like, listen, here's all the cards on the table. Get out my face.
I like that. I think across the board, it is beneficial. I have found that being assertive and speaking up has helped me in personal relationships. It's helped me in professional relationships. I'm now able to effectively communicate how I'm feeling at work, what I feel like I deserve, even down to like salary negotiations. Like, I talk to people who have this fear around that, and I'm like, no, like, this is this is what I know I need. This is what I know I deserve. And I'm going to ask for that. And if it's not for me, if they're not willing to give it, then I'm just going to move on and find it. So I love that. Open and honest communication is what we are all about over here. So let that person know that they tacos ain't hitting, you know. Let them know that that rice they made was burnt.
Okay.
Just let
Because
them
there's
know.
no way they're gonna get better if you don't tell them.
Okay, there's no way. I think what's it called? There's this book. Oh my god, it's begetting me, but I think it's called Radical Candor. I don't know if the book is called Radical Candor, but it's Radical Candor. And what that specifically means is that you're able to give difficult feedback because you care about the person and their development. So it's like, if I see you and you have a booger in your nose, I'm going to tell you you have a booger in your nose. Now, it may make me uncomfortable because now I've realized, you know, that I know you've been walking around with a booger in your nose. But I care enough about you to not let you continue to walk around with a booger in your nose. So we want you to be radically honest with your friendships. And in all honesty, it may seem scary. You may be fearful of losing people. I've been there. The people who are for you will stay, period. You don't need people around you who don't accept you for who you are. Because that's just, period.
That's not on that.
Not on that. You're not gonna be able to take them the higher you go. So that's our take on communication and communication styles. To the people out there that don't say anything and let it build up into resentment and you blow up, please don't do that.
Don't do it. It's not
productive. It's not productive for you. It's not productive for the other person.
Not at all.
And there are studies that show that built up stress cause you to be unhealthy.
Ugh, no wonder I'm going to die so soon.
Oh, nobody said that.
My dad just told me I was going to die young because of stress, and I fully 100% believe him now.
Not Papa telling you. I'm not feeling that. Don't be speaking that of your son now. You're not going to die young. I'm laughing because I just thought about a shirt that I saw. I can't remember if it was at the Weeknd concert or where I saw it, but actually I don't think it was at the Weeknd concert, but someone had a shirt with a T-Rex on it that said, "All my friends are dead."
Tell us where they can find the podcast.
All right. You all can find us. We are on the socials. You can find us on Twitter at Funny Podcast. That is FUNI Podcast. We're also on Instagram, The Friendship University. And you can email us, friendshipuniversitypodcast@gmail.com. We'll have everything linked below if you have any topics you'd like us to discuss, or anything that you would like to talk about. Even if you have like confessionals you want to send in, you just need to talk to somebody, we're here. Please leave us a review. We do have a link tree, and we know times are hard out here. You know, monetarily, if you can't give, we're trying to continue this podcast for as long as possible. We want everyone in the world to be the best version of themselves, to be better humans to themselves so that they can be better humans to one another, because friendship is so important and it's worth fighting for. So leave us a review. That's the closest thing you can do to monetarily supporting us. It'll give us the opportunity to continue making content week over week for you all. So find all of that information in the description box below. We out for this week. See you next.
See ya.